Welcome to the Appliance Educator podcast, presented by ZLine Kitchen and Bath, attainable luxury designed in Lake Tahoe. The Nestrs join the cast today talking about how to succeed as an Airbnb owner and some of their house flipping successes. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Appliance Educator podcast. We've got another awesome podcast today. We are joined by Sarah and Nick from the Nestrs. Thanks for joining, Sarah and Nick.
Hello, Sarah here.
Nick here. Thanks for having us, you guys.
We're very excited to be here.
Awesome. And as always, I'm joined by Nick from the Appliance Educator.
What's up? Glad to be back once again.
Yeah, and I'm really excited to talk to you guys. And I think we're going to dive straight into it with our first question. You know, I think Nick and I both had the same question. What really started first? Remodeling, flipping, Airbnb? Walk us through the story.
Yeah.
Actually, it was Airbnb. Or it was remodeling our first home.
It was remodeling. So we wanted to own a piece of property. We lived in New York City. It was very humble beginnings here. I was an actor.
Very, very difficult place to buy a house when you're first starting off in life.
But we figured it out with FHA financing, but we knew that we had to fix the home up so we could have roommates. We tried roommates at first, then this thing called Airbnb came out around 2008, but it was 2010, 11.
Yeah, something like that.
And we just let's try this Airbnb thing out. And so then the Airbnb thing came.
Well, we actually got an Airbnb because one of our friends who lived down the street started renting out his 2-bedroom apartment because it just made more sense. And he was making a killing and we couldn't understand it. So we tried it ourselves.
Yeah. So I think home ownership really came first, and having the power to rent it out for top dollar, and then just how we rented it out evolved because Airbnb became a thing.
Yeah, I was doing that in my house in Tahoe for a little bit. We had an extra room and it was such a great income because Tahoe is such a great place to vacation, and people were paying top dollar, especially New Year's was crushed it for and living right by the lake. It was great. And it was really easy maintenance. And yeah, I love to hear what kind of essential Airbnb stuff you guys had figured out, because it took me a while to kind of get it dialed in, right?
Yeah. Well, for us at first, it was just a way to
pay the mortgage,
right? And start our real estate investing journey. I know it was our primary home, but we had plans to add on to that portfolio. But actually, I have a background in hospitality. So as an actor, you always prepare yourselves between gigs to do something. And I was planning on this since I was very young. So I started bartending when I was 16, working in restaurants when I was 16 to prepare myself for my career in New York City. And that led to working in hotels. Nick has always been we're both pretty handy, I would like to think. So it was just a natural progression, and we actually could take those skill sets, bring them to running short-term rentals. And we just became so obsessed with it in New York that we actually sold the property as an operating short-term rental. So the buyers knew the numbers, they bought the decor, they bought all of our operations and our processes, and we sold for more than we thought we could get because it was a business. It was a business that we were selling more than just a home. And we were so obsessed with it, we left New York because there was a lot of red tape there, and who knew? Now it's illegal.
We weren't even planning on leaving New York or selling our house in the first place. They knocked on our door, and we really didn't put two and two together to invest in multiple properties, to really make it a thing. It started crossing our minds when we saw this Airbnb income, but we were looking at our finances and we're like, hey, houses cost $1 million in this neighborhood. Let's get a second one. Wait. It wasn't exactly something you could just do, at least with our level of knowledge at that point. So we had the opportunity to sell for a crazy profit that I never realized was even a thing. We also realized that reinvesting that money in New York City is kind of trading apples for apples. So there wasn't a whole lot of value there. So if we really wanted to leverage the profit we made on that house and take advantage of those tax-free capital gains, we needed to go to a different market. So we were scouring the country, multiple cities, and we had statistics on a lot of places.
A spreadsheet that include days of sunshine, elevation. I mean, just the most dialed in spreadsheet you've ever seen. And Columbus, Ohio ended up winning out.
it hit all the check marks when it comes to investing, cash flow, equity and property, professionals moving to the area, growth. Yeah. And we had a friends and family base that are near the area, which kind of made sense too.
Okay, great. And did you guys move to the Columbus area to kind of get this first new branch of the model off the ground? And is that how that worked?
Oh yeah. Yeah. So we came here right off the bat. We actually put an offer in on a four unit building, knowing that it would be a short-term rental building that we'd have to renovate. But had that offer not been accepted and gone through, we don't even know what city we would be in.
Might be in Alabama.
Yeah, we thought about Alabama, Birmingham, Alabama.
We put an offer in Portland, Oregon.
Yeah.
So I mean, it could have been anywhere, really.
But here we are, and we've created quite a business now. So we're here for a while.
It sounds like a really interesting, quick transition from just basically home ownership into sort of this more of like an ROI oriented thinking on what you're doing with your property in your portfolio. That I think that's fascinating. So at this point in 2021, how many different Airbnbs do you guys have going?
Yeah, so we own 6 short-term rentals ourselves, but I started sharing a lot of our renovations and just what we were doing on Instagram back in 2010. And as I brought it to Columbus, I was just starting to tag Columbus and all the things I was doing on Instagram stories. And so I would get people asking questions about, oh, you're setting up a short-term rental. That's so great. And I would talk about, our 5 stars and how guests love staying with us. We got a lot of repeat guests, and people asked if I could run their short-term rentals. So without intentionally doing it, we became a hosting company. And now we manage,
I don't even know.
41 doors, which in the grand scheme of property management, that's actually quite small, but we like it that way. We have a very particular taste when it comes to the houses we manage. But so we manage several for other people.
And is that nationwide, or is that just?
No, it's local to Columbus, and then Columbus like surroundings. We actually have an Instagram famous home that we manage about an hour south of us. It sleeps 18 people. It's got its own private waterfall. It's in Ohio. You heard that right.
Yep. There are a couple waterfalls in Ohio.
Yes.
And we manage one of those properties that has it.
Yes. I'm very honored to manage that property, but yeah, just all local to Columbus.
Yeah. I think Ohio, and I just think flat, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
I don't blame you. It mostly is.
Hey guys, Drew from the Appliance Educator podcast here, and I just wanted to take a minute out to talk about our amazing sponsor, ZLine Kitchen and Bath. You've heard the guests and the hosts talk about this amazing brand and all the attainable luxury that they create right here in the heart of Lake Tahoe, USA. From freestanding ranges to ventilation, dishwasher, and microwave, to everything you'll need to complete your next bathroom project, ZLine Kitchen and Bath is bringing luxury into your next project. So it sounds like early on, especially, and now with 41, I mean, how many of those were renovations? It sounds like you're going to kind of put your touch on things before you kind of take it into your portfolio. So talk about the renovation process.
Yeah. So with our 4 unit, we lightly renovated 3, and we completely gutted one we're actually sitting in right now. And then we have another home that's actually completely gutted right now that we're currently working on, which is a lot of fun. And then it's a
work in progress. Yes, there.
And we flip houses on the side. I mean, can you flip a house on the side? I don't know.
This is our sickness. We tend to not focus. We've gotten good at focusing on one thing for a short period of time and getting it dialed in, and then moving on to the next thing. So we're all over the place. Like we flip a couple houses a year. I started in architecture firms. We designed well over 100 houses this year. Oh, wow. We're trying to, of course, it's all going to come. Our COVID kind of threw everything up in the air. So we're just like, Airbnb stopped for 2 months and basically got cut in half for almost a year.
Yeah.
So that kind of changed our strategy too. So I'm like, we need to find some additional income or scale this side of our business to make up for that loss.
We're pretty diversified in how we make income, which is great because it's been nice when Airbnb dipped. People were still building homes and remodeling homes in Columbus. I mean, the housing market here is crazy competitive and there's nowhere to live. So we're redesigning houses for these investors all the time. And that really helped carry our business through COVID. And now Airbnbs are picking up again.
There's a lot of money, national and international money coming into Columbus right now. Not too many people realize there's over 2 million people in the area. And it's one of the fastest growing cities in the country. So, and there's, I think, what was it, like, oh, 1,200 houses are on market right now.
Yeah,
Like
and there's no houses.
nothing, no inventory whatsoever. So we're building, it's like almost like, I don't know, Las Vegas, where we just keep going out and out and out. But there's a lot of stuff happening here.
How do you guys manage your work life and your regular life with all these different pieces going on in the work life?
Help from people.
I've subscribed to there's no such thing as a work-life balance.
No, there's seasons where, like, there was a time where, like, we're going to go on vacation for 10 days. And so we literally worked for 3 months to set it up so that we could go on vacation for 10 days, like, so we do try to take self-care, make it important, because it is, but we got into an industry that's insane. It doesn't matter if you're a real estate agent. It doesn't matter if you're a property manager, if you're a home renovator, remodeler, any of the trades right now is just nutso in the housing industry. So
we're really trying hard to create a brand, an environment, and a culture that we can thrive in and be happy in, because right now we have to dedicate all of our time to it. So we don't really have a choice at the moment, but we're liking what we're doing, which makes it feel worthwhile and exciting and fun, and keeps us
on our toes.
Yeah.
What you want to be doing.
Yes. If you heard that saying, it's just like, instead of working 40 hours in a place that, like, it's like, fine, I'd rather work 60 to 70, maybe 80 hours a week, doing something that is for a greater goal that we are building ourselves and is specific to what we love doing. We think it's worth it.
That's fantastic. Yeah, I was going to say, it's hard for me to imagine you guys having free time with flipping houses, 41 properties that you're looking at, and then also all the content that you make. I mean, it's impressive what you guys do. So kudos.
Thank you. We're having fun though too.
I want to go back to the decor stuff when you're stylizing an Airbnb, and you guys kind of have a section in some of your blogs where it doesn't have to be the most expensive stuff. It's got to just have character. And thrifting is a big hobby of mine. Me and my girlfriend love to go thrifting and, like, score all sorts of random things. I DJ, so I like to wear crazy outlandish things on stage, and that's the best place to go. And I just want to know, like, what are some of your amazing finds thrifting for these Airbnbs, and maybe some crazy decor that you would never think to find in one of these vacation rentals?
COVID really put a damper on all that, and we've been making plans to go to that big flea market out in Springfield, but we never made it this year yet.
Not yet, but I will say this. I will say a couple things. Is one amazing stat is, and if any of your listeners are thinking about getting into the short-term rental industry, which are Airbnbs, but all Airbnbs are short-term rentals, that you'll have 50% higher conversion rate, 50%, if you have a place that stands out online. So gone are the days where, like, just a ho-hum place and people are looking for an alternative stay to a hotel. Now people are really, it's sticking out if your listing has something unique about it. And like you said, it doesn't have to be anything expensive. It just has to be creative. So some things that, like, we're finding, or even we love this about social media, we end up attracting owners who also love unique and amazing spaces, but theming spaces. So we have a building that we manage where it's a 4-unit, each unit represents a prominent female in history. So then we went thrifting for things like, one of us, Amelia Earhart. And so there's some really cool airplane things, or things with nail heads, or lots of leather and things like that. Obviously taking antique furniture and making it into a bathroom vanity, that can be fun.
Depending on where you live too, there's a number of consignment stores here in Columbus, and you can get some of those vintage pieces at a reasonable price. Sometimes you just have to get lucky, because
go looking often. Facebook Marketplace is great. You can set up different filters and be alerted when something you're looking for, like, even if it's just as simple as mid-century furniture, and then be able to pounce on that, because people are dialed in to these searches, and you got to get competitive and just know what you're looking for. But Yeah, I mean, down to like, maybe you're doing like a vintage short-term rental. And so maybe your thing is vintage hats. One of our community members just did a whole thing on these vintage hats, and she put them all on the ceiling. I mean, it's just cool stuff that as long as you can get a little creative, it doesn't have to cost you a lot of money.
Yeah, we have a new one here in Reno that's an Airbnb that just got remodeled. It's called the Reno Art Loft. And a few friends of mine, they have this company called Dream Machine, and they do all their art from recycled art, from recycled products. So trash, or like from ZLine, they gave me a bunch of old handles and stuff that they aren't going to products. So I was like, I don't know what to do with these. I was like, hey, do you guys want to make something out of it? So they're making like chandeliers and stuff out of these old metal gold fixtures that we have.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So cool.
It's really incredible. Like if you do have an eye and you want to spend the money, a little bit of money, you can justify these slightly higher costs to create a space that is really special and share it with the world. I mean, there is a potato you can stay in Idaho. There are train cars, there are airplanes, there are caves, tree houses. It can get really cool if you stop and look for some of these unique spaces that are out there.
Yeah.
So it sounds like one of the keys is just kind of giving each place a personality. So it's online. Now, when you guys are looking at a short-term rental property, what are sort of the brass tacks that you look for? Because I imagine there's kind of, you want to have a personality to stand out, but I imagine there's kind of that hit list of we need to have this or get it in, make it viable. Take us through kind of the core structure to make a successful short-term rental property.
This is our number one question, and we get it because it's a big investment. Want to decide and then go through with it because it's not a quick buck business. There are gurus out there who try to tell you it is. It is not. Trust me, we've been doing this for a really long time now. Number one is, what are the regulations in that area, right? Short-term rentals are a hot topic when it comes to parties, things that are happening that shouldn't be happening in homes. So a lot of cities are cracking down. Some cities are embracing it. As of right now, Columbus loves how it's really enriching the fabric of our communities, but only certain communities, right? There are some neighborhood cities where it truly is so residential that a short-term rental just wouldn't make sense there. You're going to disrupt the neighbors, even when people are just coming and going, it's not a good fit. But there are awesome neighborhoods that are close to shops and cafes and things like that, where yes, we would love to have travelers come experience our city firsthand and welcome you there. But regulations are number one. And even if it's not illegal right now in an area you're looking at, try to get in tune with what the conversations have been at the governing body meetings, right?
And actually go there and listen.
Go there, listen. Another thing is knowing your numbers, right? So do some research. There are websites like airdna.co. There are websites like Airbnb, Vrbo, HomeAway. See what people are getting per night for their stay and compare that with your investment, right? The numbers have to work. You don't have to be in a highly like a really popular area. I mean, Forbes did a write-up a few years ago about how one of the most profitable places to have a short-term rental, this is Forbes, not just an Ohio publication, but Forbes, was Akron, Ohio, because the cost of living there is so low. Like your mortgage is so affordable that, what was it? Like four to
nights.
6 days would pay your mortgage. So, that occupancy rate isn't that high. So you would be doing great if you're close to the university or any other, anything that would draw in people to come to Akron in that area. So I would say legality, and then just know your numbers. And then of course, if you can create something that will stand out online, because short-term rentals, Airbnbs are hot right now. It seems like everyone, if they're not doing it, everyone who asks me what I do, or just in line of coffee and I tell them what I do, they're like, oh, been thinking of doing that. And it just, everyone, I can talk to anyone about what I do and they're always interested. So you've got to stand out, because now it's really popular and everyone kind of wants to see what it would be like to own their own business.
I mean, I would definitely consider looking for, you got to look at the outside forces of real estate too. How is that area appreciating? There's some things you just don't see in real estate that you make money from.
That's a good point too. One thing I don't love is when investors try to do a short-term rental in a neighborhood that isn't ready for travelers. Up and coming places, maybe they're not incredibly safe yet. They're transitioning, which is can be wonderful, but it's not fair to take a picture of your renovated home, not have the homes next to it in view. A mom and a daughter arrive at 2 a.m. after traveling all day to a neighborhood that, may not be the safest for them. I don't think it's fair for them to pay for your appreciation on your investment, and for them not to have a great stay. I always tell people too, like, would you be excited to stay there? If your family was coming to town, would you be so excited for them to stay in your short-term rental? Because if not, I don't know that other people would be either.
Honesty is the best policy, is a good rule of thumbs. In New York, we lived under the Triborough Bridge, and I loved it. It's this glorious, beautiful sight. You can see the East River, you can see the New York skyline. It's insane. But at all times during the day and night, there is lots of traffic going on above you, and you can hear it. And semis with their Jake brakes and, that for me, that's just the charm of the city. But you have to be honest about all those things. If there's a train next to you, if there is a bar, although that could be a positive thing in my eyes, whatever's around, just say, hey, look, this is going on, and spin it the best way you can. Just be honest about it.
That's great. I mean, and it sounds like location plays a big part in kind of all of the points you guys made, and just sort of considering and planning of what you're bringing to market, basically. What do you guys look for inside the space as far as kind of amenities? And, it sounds like you've done quite a bit of renovation. When we're looking at the kitchen, the bathroom, the bedroom, kind of the key points, what's your kind of standard of bringing it up to quality for you to put on?
You have to think like the people who are going to stay there, right? So move throughout the home like guests would move. A lot of people tend to make their homes, and they move out of their homes and move into a new home and turn their old home into a short-term rental. But you knew that home like the back of your hand. So now you've got to like have friends and family stay there first, and make sure that the way a guest would move throughout it would.
Yeah, let your friends and family stay for free for a night or two, and then say, give it to me.
Give it to me.
Yeah.
Here are some things, right? So number one, things need to be easy to operate, and they need to work. You don't want to have a paying guest have to like figure out how to get the oven to work. It should just work for them, right?
So renovate your space properly. If you can, I understand. And we've been in that situation. We still are, maybe in one or two units, and it is what it is. You make it work, but you got to keep an eye on that stuff. I'm about to replace a sink because it's dripping.
Yeah.
And that's just the reality of life. I like to be at the point where everything's renovated, so there's less to worry about. But of course, you can't always be in that scenario. If we did have a limited budget, I would definitely suggest putting it towards beautiful furnishings and the amenities like internet and all the things that people expect when they go to a hotel or an Airbnb, and beyond that. Just a great stay.
We're all about thrifting, but one things you don't want to thrift are the mattress. Mattresses need to be
couch,
new and super comfortable, and the sofa needs to be, clean and suitable for guests to stay. Some other tips that I love to share with people is, let's say you have like a 3-bed, 1-bath. People might see that and say, ooh, how are 6 people or maybe even 8 people, if you've got a sleeper sofa, going to use this one bathroom? That's really tough. So what you do is you create little vanities in each bedroom, complete with mirror, a place to sit and get ready, blow dryers for each bedroom, not just one in the one bathroom. Equip each bedroom with a space for guests to get ready, and that helps with that. You still might not be the most attractive option, but thinking about things like that. So we've gotten some opportunities to design short-term rentals from the ground up, and en-suites are a great way to stand out in the market.
We actually limit the closet space on a short-term rental property. You're still going to put a closet in each bedroom, but it's going to be on the smaller side. You're going to try to get a bathroom in each. Like if I had a 3-bed, I'd want 3.5 baths, ideally, with small closets and a large entertainment space down that is open to the kitchen, that also overlooks the backyard, and maybe there's entertainment space there, and really start focusing on how can the family get together, entertain on a short-term basis, have that meal, and then go up and go to bed and not have to worry about sharing a bathroom when it's time to get ready for a wedding or whatever the case may be.
And now we can go on forever with these tips, but now what I'm saying also is just huge is, before COVID, our dedicated workspace, it worked for it to be the dining table or the peninsula of the kitchen or the island of the kitchen. But now people want a separate room in which to work because so many people are working remote and they need a place they can shut the door, work during the day while their family is coming in and out while they're exploring the area or whatnot. Or maybe it's just their partner who's traveling with them can live their life throughout the home and there's a dedicated workspace. So even if you don't want to dedicate a whole bedroom to just an office, to have like a proper office in one of the bedrooms so that these remote workers have a great place to get work done and can plug in to your modem. That's another thing too, that is I've had to make some adjustments on since COVID.
That's really interesting, especially considering the modem. You would just think, it's all going to be Wi-Fi, but for the remote work, you got to take that conference call, right? So,
yeah, some companies are requiring that remote workers be able to plug in. I've had people reach out to us on these, to want to rent with us, and they say they have to do it in order to work there. So I don't know what that's about, security or just knowing that the call won't drop. Yeah, but it's really important.
Or a way to deter their people from actually going away and working remotely.
Maybe, yeah.
Let's go back to the pandemic stuff. When you were seeing trends in the Airbnbs, when it finally did come back, was it more people traveling on leisure, or was it these remote workers that are taking advantage of their opportunity?
Oh my goodness. Coming back through COVID, it's been all the things. I feel like people are just like, get me out. During COVID, 100% visiting family, taking care of sick people, or people who were just needed to get out of their own four walls and stay in another four walls for a little bit. But now it's seeing family, going to weddings. Business travel is not where it was before. And that's a national thing. A lot of these online travel agencies have commented on that. It's not quite back yet because people can now work. People are learning how to work remotely, right? Before you had to I'll figure out how to use teleconferencing some other time. They were forced to. And so now, that's been tough. But other than that, people are just moving because they can.
Yeah. There's a lot of we're not going to Europe anymore. We're traveling to, an hour from where you live.
Yeah. Drivable destinations.
Yeah.
Huge.
So there's a lot of that going on. Plus, if you have family, it's say I have family in Cleveland, it's more reasonable for me to say, hey, I'm going to take a week and work out of Cleveland at an Airbnb, at a nice Airbnb, and work from there, see family in the evenings, and just make a week of it. But it's not really going to impact my career. I'm still going to go to work remotely. I'm still going to get my stuff done, but I'm able to travel a couple hours, stay somewhere comfortable, and have a change of pace here, change of scenery.
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. Sounds fun. I mean, take my laptop out and go to
just work in another location.
Go into the woods as long as I have Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But be careful about that. We need a good internet connection.
Well, I could, take all my footage and everything. I'm just going to go edit for a week.
There you go. Yes.
Back with a bunch of content for us. Yeah, exactly. So can you guys tell us about Betsy?
Sure.
Yeah. Oh, the House Betsy?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. So for your listeners, what are they talking about?
Yeah.
We for a while there was just you can say what address you're going to, but man, is that boring. And we love celebrating women any way we can. We really try to do that here at Nestrs. And so most of our homes, we dig down deep into the history and see who the first female owner was. Or in Betsy's case, it was the woman who had just owned the home and connected with our business partner, Jennifer. Jennifer was going to see if Betsy wanted to sell her home. Betsy was thinking about maybe moving into assisted living.
The story is actually incredible. I mean, I don't think we have time for it all, but it was a long process and the stars aligned and it just made sense. So
Betsy ended up passing away between, her telling Jennifer, no, she wasn't ready to sell. But Jennifer, our partner, made such an impact on the visit with Betsy that her brother called and was like, hey, Betsy actually said, we'd love for you to do something. And this home is interesting. So Jennifer came to us because she's like, guys, this house is weird. We need to know. People called it the Marshmallow House.
Marshmallow House.
Yeah.
Yep.
You should be able to search the hashtag Betsy614 on Instagram and you'll see it, but it looked like it was melting. So, and it's all stuck. So it's all stucco. So you can't
It wasn't your traditional house that you'd see in any neighborhood in Ohio.
There's no residing this. There's no, without spending so much money that we wouldn't make any money in the end. But the interior was super fun, easy. We reworked it, a lot of bathrooms, open kitchen concept, all that good stuff, giant pantry. But the exterior, we did a black white combo, which is very hot right now. Added some cedar accents, and we actually sold that home from I think he heard about, the homeowner saw it on Instagram.
Yeah.
Drove by it in real life, and before it even hit the market, he was like, no, we want this house, which is so cool, because I'm telling you guys, this house is weird.
I'll be honest with you, like, because we talk about all of our stuff when we can, when we're renovating a house, we get a lot of activity and questions, and we attract really cool people. All of our buyers, I think, have
from Insta.
Yeah. So the last 3 or 4 projects we've done, we've all gotten from Instagram.
Yes. Yeah, it's been cool.
That's really cool. And I mean, it sounds like such a unique combination of kind of tapping into the original like persona of the house and just kind of it and making it an attractive space. What do you guys look for when you're kind of looking at that mix of like, here's what's got to go and here's what we want to keep?
How do you keep the personality from the original look of the house and update that?
Yeah, well, you have to let the house speak to you, right? Like, I know that sounds kind of artsy fartsy, but it's kind of true. I mean,
not literally.
True. Right. We're not sitting there like with our ears to the wall.
Just male. Yeah.
But like, okay, there's another house, Ruth, which actually is really cool because the name Ruth came from one of the original owners of the home, and the buyer had followed us on Instagram. So we called it Ruth, but I think it was her mother's name was Ruth. And that's why she was moving back to the neighborhood. And she's like, this is meant to be. And so she wanted that house no matter what. And that was a great story too. But that house, when we were looking at how to change the exterior of it, once we peeled away layers of bad decisions from previous owners, it was this like white board and batten on the top and then a horizontal siding on the bottom. We're like, that's cute. Let's just go back to what it was originally supposed to be. Yeah. We didn't get crazy artsy with it. We just did what was originally done. It was a Garrison Colonial. And so it was just a cool way to just bring back the house the way it was intended. And honestly, sometimes it's driven by financial. Sure, absolutely. For example, in Betsy, there is this beautiful brick chimney in the center of the space that divides the kitchen and living room. Oh. And to remove the chimney, plus the roof work and everything, well, we ended up putting on a new roof and all that, but we couldn't, to take it down was just too expensive. Yeah, it made sense to embrace it instead of pay to demo it. So we had our friend and our local artist come in, and they did this beautiful, it's just the address, right? So I don't know if you guys picture this, like when you're driving through an old downtown, you know how you see those faded advertisements on brick? Like they used to be like full on bright painted advertisements, but over time they fade. I love those. So she did this like thing that had like, it paid homage to the neighborhood. And then we had the address and a little arrow that was like, go this way to go to this address. And then we like beat it up. We just like took acetone and like a sander to it and just like made it look super faded. And we left it because that neighborhood, there's a lot of pride in that area and in history. And so it stood out on, we didn't really have to have it on the MLS, but it did stand out on Instagram, and people loved it. So
that's awesome to give it that kind of like early to mid-century distressed look in there.
Sure. Yeah.
That's great. So we've got kind of an interesting question for this next one. How did you guys find out about ZLine? ZLine's been a sponsor of the Appliance Educators content for a while now. How did you guys get involved with them?
That is a fantastic question. It could have been one of two things, either at the kitchen and bath showcase in Vegas, but I think it was seeing it on Instagram somewhere, just the products and how gorgeous they are, but also obtainable, especially with the projects that we do. I got this. You got it? Yep. So in New York City, we did presentations. I was a real estate agent in New York City. Oh, yeah. And we went to a couple showrooms. Some of them were appliances, high-end appliances, Sub-Zero and Wolf and Thermador and all that. And I just kind of got intrigued by, we started designing luxury apartments, and I was intrigued by the price tags on some of these things. And when we ended up going to Vegas, like the first year, several years ago, I'm like, these are gorgeous.
what's this? And we started talking about it. And because this is before they were even in, like, you couldn't get them in stores, you had to buy them direct. And they just did stoves at the time. And now they do everything. Like even their sinks and faucets are extraordinary and super high quality. But, and I'm just like, so this looks like an $8,000 stove. And then like, no, it's $3,500. And I'm like, oh, well, what's wrong with it?
Yeah.
No, and then we've actually put them in several of our renovated projects, and the potential buyers love them. I can't tell you how many times on Instagram people are like, "What is that? What is that hood? What is that oven, that range?" And we tell them, and like, "Oh my gosh, that's that I wouldn't have that in my house." So that's how it got started.
Yeah,
that's right.
I think Ruth was the first time we did the entire suite. Dishwasher, well, except for the fridge, which from what I understand, they're coming out with fridges now, and they're going to have those available soon. But I remember getting the little microwave / convection mini oven.
Oh my God, those are the best.
And the door opens like an oven, so it mirrors we had a 36-inch wide stove, and I'm just like, holy cow, this is so cool. And I'm like, we could make a pizza in here.
Anything you want in there. They're just beautiful and attainable and not cheap, but not also like something that you can't have.
Yeah, if you're doing a higher end flip in like the $500,000 price point, it's perfect because it's satisfying the luxury aspect of that price point, but you're not spending a fortune to get there.
Yeah, it's got that eye appeal.
Exactly. Yeah. I think that's really their target, is like, how do we kind of compete with these high-end luxury brands at a price point people can attain? So
attainable.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I will tell you too, we were at KBIS, the Kitchen and Bath Industry Showcase in Vegas, I think. Yeah, Vegas. And everyone we ever talked to at ZLine, they're knowledgeable, and we're not being paid to say this, knowledgeable and so nice. I mean, I remember walking away from the what do you call it at the conferences, like that area where they're all set up, and being like, that was the nicest, not pushy, just educational experience we've ever had with a product and a brand. And how we were reached out to after we spoke. And it was just like, not that it was really like, how was your experience? And it was just good experience. And I think that's honestly for a lot of brands and products. And we try to be like this too with our short-term rentals. It's less of this like desperation thing for the business and more of like, how was the experience? How can we make it better? How can we keep on improving? And that will go so far in any business that you're running. And we just felt that, and it was nice to feel that, especially in a crowded, busy week of all the things.
Yeah. The camaraderie that you get with someone makes you want to come back more.
Yeah. Definitely biased, but I completely agree.
It's true. It really, I mean it from the bottom of my heart. It's true.
That's awesome, guys. Well, before we kind of sign off for today, where can everybody find your awesome content? I know you guys are kind of all over the place. So walk all of our listeners through where they can find your content and what you got coming up.
We appreciate that. Yeah. So we hang out back behind the scenes on Instagram. So it's at Nestrs, but we spell it kind of fun and interestingly. We drop off that last E. So it's Nestrs.
Fun because we couldn't get the E. So
yeah,
we made it fun.
And then on our with nestrs.com as well, we have a ton of blog content there, both our projects and just lessons that we've taught ourselves or learned over time within renovation and investing journeys. And then we also have a podcast of our own all about short-term rentals, and it's called Thanks for Visiting. And we've got over 100 episodes, and we're just nerding out there all the time, all things short-term rental.
That's awesome, guys. So yeah, listeners, if you want to catch more of Sarah and Nick, all the cool Nestrs content, Instagram, podcasts, look for them out there. Guys, just want to thank you so much for your time. It was a pleasure to have you on the podcast. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, it was great. And we'll chat more again soon. I know.
Yeah. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
This has been the Appliance Educator podcast, brought to you by ZLine Kitchen and Bath. Be sure to like, subscribe, and follow at Appliance Educator for more tips and tricks and advice to keep your home running at optimal performance. If you have any ideas or topics you'd like to hear on future episodes of the show, leave us a comment. Appliance Educator, signing off.